Texas Rangers. They made that a certainty with a win last night and a loss by the Angels out west. The weather is great. The emotions are still high. Rangers in Seattle on Fox today, the top and the bottom of the AL West. Welcome to Fox Saturday Baseball. I'm Josh Lewin, and with apologies to Earth, Wind, and Fire, Ranger fans will remember the 23rd night of September and do so very fondly. It's the night the Rangers wrapped it up in the AL West. It's a team filled with all-stars. Eric Karros is standing by right now with one of them down in the Ranger dugout.
Thanks, Josh. I'm here with Michael Young, two-time AL West division champ. Is it just as sweet this year?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I mean, to have an opportunity to win this thing again and celebrate in the clubhouse last night and celebrate with our fans here at our home ballpark, those kind of things never get old, and definitely don't take them for granted.
For you, you're my American League MVP. Is there... Thank you. There you go. Thank you. Are you surprised or are you astonished at what you've accomplished so far this year?
I mean, when I'm on the field, I expect to go out and play well, but I'm really happy with the way everything worked out, the way, you know, my role worked. We were able to get kind of guys off their feet a little bit, and I can bounce around the infield, and I had some fun with it. More than anything, you know, I'm just happy that team-wise everything worked out the way we anticipated and the way we visualized. Right now it makes it really easy to focus on next Friday.
Coming up next, the Texas Rangers, your American League West champs.
Things are clicking into place for this Texas team that went to its first World Series just 11 months ago. Last night, their first inside-the-park home run at home in 11 years. That'll work. Everything looking up for the Texas Rangers. They'll play the Mariners next on Fox. Times are waiting. Grab some buds. And Alexei Ogando will throw the first pitch of the afternoon. Ichiro stands at the ready. The Seattle Mariners are 66-91, and quite honestly, Eric Karros, they're off in parentheses on the broadcast today. We're talking about the Texas Rangers and their march into the postseason. Because it's Ichiro, you don't assume, but he is out by a couple of steps. And the starting lineup for the Mariners brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Youth is on display for Eric Wedge's team, and lefties are as well. You want lefties in there against Alexei Ogando. He's got a sinister slider. Keep an eye on Mike Karp, that cleanup hitter. Been belting the ball around a little bit. The former Ranger Justin Smoke, the DH. Now, the Mariners, a young team. They've run 18 rookies out there at various times this year, and they're casting an eye towards next season already. The Rangers are looking at October. The clinch came last night. There are 6 divisions in Major League Baseball. 3 of them were clinched yesterday.
Well, you talk about the Seattle Ball Club, and basically it's the youth movement. Not by choice. Injuries, some things didn't work out. Remember, Milton Bradley was going to be a big part of this ball club, but Eric Wedge in the process of rebuilding, just as he did in Cleveland.
And there have been growing pains for sure. A 17-game losing streak, I think, would qualify as a growing pain. They just don't score a lot. And against Ogando, early this season, he was very tough to score on. Lately, been a bit of a fall down. The ERA about 3.6. And the sprint pitcher profile for Alexei Ogando.
Well, Ogando's got to flip it on, and what I mean by that, when he is good, when he wins, I mean, he's a completely different pitcher. Opponents hit about 188 in his struggles. Guys hit about 287. He's just got to trust his stuff. Among Texas starters, he's got the lowest on-base average against. And he's got an electric arm, but sometimes he tries to get too cute. As with the case, a lot of young pitchers.
Well, the Rangers have hit jackpots back-to-back years, Eric, moving late-inning bullpen guys into this rotation. C.J. Wilson did it seamlessly a year ago. And now Ogando here in 2011. Center fielder Leonis Martin, his first big league start, and he's drifting all the way back 400 feet from home plate. It is a very different look to the Texas Rangers today. Where's Josh Hamilton? Where's Ian Kinsler? Where's Beltre? They're all out. Not Michael Young, though. Michael Young wanted in this game today.
They see Blanco at short, Herman, Mitch Moreland, but Michael Young, we're going to talk a lot about him today. And I mentioned at the top of the show he's my American League MVP. And I'm going to explain that a little later.
Yeah, we're going to hold your feet to the fire on that one, EK, because there are some guys out there with bigger numbers, with more of a Q rating, right? I mean, nationally, you'd know the other guys probably more than Michael Young. That ball smashed foul by Ackley.
And I'll be honest with you, coming into this series, Michael Young in the conversation, but not necessarily the main guy for me as an American League MVP. But the more delving into some numbers, talking to some people, and look at some other things, now for me, he's a pretty clear-cut choice as the winner.
And that's the thing that shot my eyebrows up when you said clear-cut when you and I were talking before, because I'm looking at Granderson, I'm looking at, well, you could look at Verlander with what he's done. You're saying that's your clear-cut MVP.
Just stay tuned for my argument, Josh. That's your little tease.
With bated breath, we can't get back soon enough. Possible MVP, Michael Young, batting cleanup for the Texas Rangers. Ron Washington's starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Eric Karros, I don't have $50 million, but I will bet you $50 million that this is not the lineup that Ron Washington will run out there for Game 1 of the ALDS. Michael Young is a recognizable name in this lineup. He's batting cleanup, and he's Eric Karros' MVP choice. That's a Cy Young guy from a year ago. That's Felix Hernandez.
They had a great year last year. You know, not statistically when you look at the wins and losses, but in other arenas, garnered him the Cy Young. This year, right around the same record, but not as dominant.
And the sprint pitcher profile for the King and Felix Hernandez.
Well, you've got a younger or less experienced Texas lineup today. Don't fiddle around. Go right after him. And don't worry about Texas. He has struggled. He has 15 losses in his career against this Texas Ranger organization. Pretend like you're pitching against somebody else other than the Texas Rangers.
Well, and again, not to kill this, but essentially he is. I mean, you look at this lineup today, Ron Washington resting guys.
Yeah, but you know, over the years, the personnel for the Rangers has changed, but it just seems for Felix Hernandez, it's the Ranger uniform.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. You just can't seem to beat these guys. 10 wins, goes against 15 losses, by far the most for him against any one team.
That ball tapped foul by Herman, who had to leave the team. His mom passed away and went down to the Dominican for the funeral. It's just back in town. What an odd thing for Herman. You go from that very difficult scenario, you come back, and the first thing that's waiting for you is a big-time celebration. In the hole, it's short, and into left field it goes for Herman. Taking the turn and trying for two, he'll make it. He saw that the ball wasn't going to get back in anytime soon and just kept running.
Well, he's hustling out of the box because he thinks the shortstop is going to make the play. Then he kind of coasts into first base, sees the balls get far enough away. He's able to run into second base. Left fielder Mike Karp wasn't quick enough to hustle in.
And Herman now leading the majors in batting average, right? 667. He's 2 for 3. Andy Chavez, the hitter, and he takes a bunt with him. Boy, you're right, Eric Karros. The Texas Rangers in any construct, they are tough on the King. Goes as a bunt base hit after a ground ball double from Herman.
Well, Andy Chavez trying to do two things. Get the runner from second to third, and along those lines, if he can get down to first, that's just icing on the cake. Does a nice job. And remember, we're seeing a lot of players that don't play that often, but Chavez, he's got a lot of experience at the big league level.
Chavez, a nice lead, thought about going, comes back, and now you got a runner trapped. They get the double play, and they hold Herman at third base. Nicely done. Thought for a moment, Eric, that they might try to get Herman in the rundown, but as he started scampering back to third, they complete the DP.
That's a great play by Hernandez, because watch him when he catches the ball. He looks at third, he freezes the runner, and then is able to turn the double play. Usually in that situation, you're going to send that runner on contact to stay out of the double play. If that runner at third is dead in the water, maybe he gets into a rundown, allows that runner from first base to get to third base. I'll guarantee you in the playoffs you're going to see a different attack. I mean base running attack. Right there, either you got to send the runner so you stay out of the double play, or you get in some sort of rundown. Here, 2 outs and a guy on third.
That's the first ball from Felix Hernandez. It had been 7 strikes rocketed in there to start his afternoon. All right, and your clear-cut MVP of the American League, Michael Young.
Well, let's see if Michael will take a pitch for us here so I can give you the explanation. Thank you very much. So this is my reasoning. Curtis Granderson, a great year in New York. Justin Verlander, a great pitching year in Detroit. Well, if I take a Josh Hamilton and put him in New York, I'm not saying he puts up equivalent numbers, but he could put up similar type numbers. I take Clayton Kershaw and I put him in Detroit. I think he could win 20 some odd games.
Right into the corner down the line, and that's foul.
Oh, good. Okay, so I can
It's
keep
just
going
for you.
here.
Yeah.
Michael Young, on the other hand, who has played 30 or 40 games at third base, 30 or 40 games at first base, over 10, 15 at second base, and on top of that, has over 200 hits, has over 100 RBIs. Can you take any other player in the big leagues and substitute him into Michael Young's position, and that player, you could make a good argument that he could match that same sort of production, both defensively and offensively? And I'd say no way. And here, I'll take it a step further. Since the mid-40s, Stan Musial, Tommy Davis, Joe Carter, and there's one other, has played 3 positions, 10 or more games at 3 different positions. But most of those guys, Billy Williams, most of those guys, all of them, a couple in the outfield and one in the infield, and have had over 200 hits and 100 RBIs. Michael Young, 3 infield positions, third, second, and first. So when you're talking about the most valuable player, he's clearly the most valuable player. Clearly the most valuable player. Other guys may have better statistical seasons, but the most valuable player? How do you argue against it?
I think it's in the definition of that word valuable. The value to that team to do the thing that you are supposed to do, which is win the correct number of games to go forward. And it's funny, too, EK, one of the oldest cliches in the game applies to Michael Young and the Rangers. One about some of the best trades are the ones you never make. Because remember, all off-season, all kinds of hand-wringing and teeth gnashing about how Michael Young would be used and how he would take to this role that you're talking about as super utility guy / DH.
But Josh, we're not even talking about, as a former player, probably the most difficult thing that he's had to deal with or overcome this year isn't the statistical achievements, but what he had to deal with in spring training and just being in the right mental frame of mind. Because I can tell you from past experience, if you're in there and you're told that that's not your job anymore and we're going to limit your role and you still think you can play, that might be the most difficult thing for a player to do, is to get himself in the right frame of mind, put his own achievements or own ego out on the other side and just go out and play. And the more and more I think of it, Michael Young, he's my American League MVP.
Mitch Moreland, a wave and a miss. If there was any lingering resentment or bitterness, he basically packed it up in mothballs as soon as he got to surprise Arizona. And as focused of a competitor, I think, as you'd ever want to see. C.J. Wilson had the great line. He said, whatever the exact opposite of ADD is, that's what Michael Young has. Moreland stays alive.
I've asked a number of people, and I'm still waiting to hear a good argument against it. And somebody, you tell me another player that could have done what Michael Young has done this year.
Well, I'll give you one that used to be a Seattle hitting coach, but he's not playing anymore.
Well, so he's not in the. I don't care about it. You're going to start telling
Paul
guys
Molitor
from 1940s. I don't care about that. I'm talking about this year.
Moreland is out. Paul Molitor, if you're listening, we know you didn't play in the 1940s. No score at the end of 1 on Fox. Sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by the makers of New Bear Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. Well, just when you think we're done celebrating Michael Young and the season that he's had as he goes back into the field, I think that's the other story that we should probably tell that Ron Washington shared with us, Eric, before the game on a day when it's pretty much all the backups getting a chance to play. Why is Michael Young out there?
Because Ron Washington driving into the ball field today was thinking to himself, who am I going to get to play in the infield? I've only got 3 infielders. Everybody else isn't going to be ready to play. Michael Young sends him a text. Says, hey, Skip, you need somebody, I'm ready to go, let me know. Wash said, man, just breathed a sigh of relief. That's my guy. Tweeted him back, I could use you, thanks a lot. And that's just another example. It's like I said, forget what he's done on the field. Well, don't forget it, but what he's done on the field and what he's been able to do off the field, what he means to this team.
Mike Karp, the batter, and Ogando skips one in.
And I'm not discounting what other guys have done, but I don't think that this argument's been made to represent Michael Young the way that we've just done it. 3 different infield positions. And I'll tell you what, he could play short if he had to.
Well, he's done it before, and range-wise, obviously, it's not something you want to do on a day-in, day-out basis anymore, but he sure could. Now, today the Rangers go with Andres Blanco at short. Elvis Andrus is normally the shortstop. Kinsler is normally the second baseman. Esteban Herman instead. And one guy that I think is interesting is the center fielder Leonis Martin, the guy that they signed to a big deal contract out of Cuba. It's his first ever big league start today. He's the guy that you look at for 2012 to even 2018. But certainly not for October. And there is the shortstop Blanco to take it away from Karp. The Rangers getting past the Angels, who hung around, kind of clung to the bottom of the shoe like gum for April and May and June. But as you plot with funny sound effects what's going on here, that's where it ended. The Angels are eliminated. Do you like the funny sound effects, EK?
Those were cute.
Yeah. Former Ranger Justin Smoke will pound one out of play.
And the Angels eliminated from the division race, still a breath in the wild card race.
Yes, and the Tampa Bay Rays, they're still breathing. And it's funny, Red Sox fans, they're put in a very strange position. Really, they got to root for the Yankees because they go down to play the Tampa Bay Rays starting Monday.
Well, in the last, week or so, Red Sox made the most ground the last 2 days. Both of those days, they didn't play.
It's funny, the Red Sox started 2-10. Now they've gone 5-16, but the meat of that sandwich was really good. They were 80-42 otherwise.
Well, they've just been beset by injury. Doesn't look like Youkilis will be back at all. Hoping to get J.D. Drew. Buchholz on the mound. They hope to get him a start.
Their September ERA is close to 6 as a staff. That one hovers down the third baseline. Michael Young gives it a look. It is out of play. So it won't be the 14-game lead the Red Sox squandered in '78 if they don't get this done. They won't go down with the 64 Phillies or the 07 Mets, but it will be a very tough one to explain if they can't hang on. A little bit outside, says Kerwin Danley. bottom. That one just disappearing on Justin Smoke. Down at the bottom, that wild card. Tampa Bay, has to play the Yankees to finish up. The Angels will finish with these Texas Rangers. And Ron Washington's in an interesting position, EK, in that he's got a choice to make. Rest guys going forward, and certainly a lot of guys are resting today as Olivo takes the outside. Or it's gun the engine, try to catch up to Detroit to steal that home field advantage for the first round.
Well, and he told us before the game that he felt it was more important that his ball club be ready to go from a physical standpoint, be ready to go from a mental standpoint, than the home field advantage, which would entail one extra game, that fifth game, if needed in the divisional play at home.
I think that's emboldened by the fact that the Rangers in the ALDS last year, they were the road team, and it worked out fine. Home team didn't win a single game playing Tampa Bay. Nice, quick, easy inning for Alexi Ogando. No score here in Arlington. Sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Rangers threatened but did not score in the bottom of the first inning. They'll come up again in the bottom of the second against Felix Hernandez. The Rangers have indeed been the kryptonite to his Superman act for a couple of years now. Hernandez's last 9 starts against the Rangers, he's won just 2. Matt Trainer jumps out at the first offering from Felix Hernandez, and Olivo will make that catch. Ranger fans will get a chance to see Leonis Martin, who's playing in place of Josh Hamilton today. And again, the Rangers paid a lot of money to bring Martin into the organization. Young kid from Cuba with a lot of upside. About 30 games at AA, 40 at AAA. And this is his first big league start.
First big league start, you get to go face 2010 Cy Young Award winner.
Cornermen are in a little bit. There's a base hit into right field for Leonis Martin. Easily to second base. Not his first big league hit. He had come off the bench to get one of those about a month ago, but in his first start, that's a rope into the right field corner.
He smokes this ball, then shows good speed, easily coasts into second base. Just an inside fastball, not a lot of movement.
So as quickly as Martin got from home to second, the guy coming up right now, boy, he got from second to home in a hurry yesterday. Craig Gentry. First big league home run. It was an inside the Parker, and it was really the difference in the game last night.
Yeah, we got a chance to see his speed. This was a track guy in high school. Ron Washington compares his speed to Ricky Henderson. And watching that inside the park home run, he wasn't sprinting the whole time.
No.
He was kind of coasting around first and then didn't want to catch up to Nelson Cruz. And all of a sudden, he's thinking inside the Parker, and right around second base, he took off.
Yeah, a little stutter step and just turned on those jets. Michael Young said Adrian Beltre and he were in the video room, and he said that the second we saw both those outfielders dive and miss it, he said we both kind of looked at each other and started sprinting to the dugout because we knew Gentry was probably going to be there before we would. And indeed, Michael Young said they barely made it back to the bench in time to congratulate him.
Nice job by Olivo there. Keep the ball in front.
Five to 3 the final yesterday, but the division wasn't won until a 3-1 final came in out there from the West Coast. Thousands of fans stayed to watch the last several innings of that West Coast Angels-A's game up on the big scoreboard here. Gentry polished off. But let's show you his journey around the bases from last night. It was fun. First inside the Parker in Arlington for the Rangers since the year 2000.
Well, and watch this. Hey, I'm just coasting around. And did they catch it? Oh, they didn't. All right, I'm going to stop. All right, here we go. Hey, here we go. Let's go.
That's the track star from Van Buren, Arkansas. That last probably 120 feet.
Rolls in there standing up, too.
Andres Blanco, the batter, his first start since August the 4th. August the 4th, by the way, a date that will live in infamy around here, EK. That's the day that Robin Ventura charged the mound, and Nolan Ryan would have no part of that. They still show that video clip before the team takes the field here every game. And players from the other team always will stop what they're doing to watch that. Blanco to left. Martin zooming towards the plate. And he will score standing up. Blanco down to second base, and he's out. But the run counts. The Rangers take the lead on King Felix. We'll come back to Arlington after a word from your local Fox station. Presented by Chevrolet. Going forward, the Rangers, as they head into the postseason, probably will not need Alexei Ogando in the rotation, they figure. They used him for 2 innings today. And Scott Feldman's going to take over on the mound. Let's take you back to what just happened to make it 1-0.
Shot into left field. Martin going all the way. Dave Anderson sending him. See Blanco just heading into second base.
It is 1-0 Rangers, and Scott Feldman opens up here with a swing and a miss from Adam Kennedy. This was the Rangers' opening day starter a year ago, and has become a forgotten man ever since then. Punched into right center, Adam Kennedy, a guy that's always worn the Rangers out back to his days with the Angels and even the A's. He is on to begin the 3rd inning. And Eric, honestly, I thought we might see Ogando for 3 or 4 innings and not 2 today, but I think the design all along was to limit innings. Ogando, obviously a converted reliever, getting long in the year for him.
Well, and remember, he will be in the bullpen come the postseason. He will not be a starter unless something unfortunate happens. Just as Feldman right now, he's getting a look. I think manager Ron Washington, he'll have some decisions to make. Says he's going to carry 12 pitchers.
And he has not set that rotation yet. I think he's waiting to see who the Rangers are playing. If, for example, they match up against the Yankees, boy, it makes sense to have a couple lefties start in that ballpark, right, in New York. Neutralize Cano and Granderson if you can. Not a lot is set in terms of the playoff picture. The Rangers know they're going, but they have no idea who their opponent will be. Trayvon Robinson with a foul. If it ends up being the Tigers, I think that's an interesting one, Eric. The Rangers can't finish tied with Detroit and win home field advantage because the Tigers won the season series. They'll prevail with that tiebreaker. The Rangers lost the season series to the Tigers 6-3, but 5 of those 6 losses by 1 run.
Yeah, but the only way it becomes the Tigers is if the Angels get in as a wild card. That's not happening. Not happening. I know it's mathematically still there, but that's not happening. So I don't think Detroit's even in the picture. They play an American League East team to begin with.
Robinson down on strikes, and Liddy will come up, the third baseman. If the season ended right now, Rangers and Yankees, that was a very compelling ALCS last year. Boston trying to hang on so they can be that wild card. Hey, strike from Feldman. Mariners have only 4 home runs all year from that third base position. Liddy's got 2 of them. A guy that was tearing it up in AAA this year. The native Italian, Alex Liddy, first big league player from Italy to break through since Rino Bertoia 50 years ago. I know you vacationed in San Remo, Mr. Karras.
Sure.
Your days in the Italian Riviera. Ooh, inside. And Liddy is on. So we go from Italy to Japan. Liddy is on, and Ichiro comes up next.
Gets him right in the arm. It's like the tricep area.
If you'd like to go, we just thought we'd throw this out there for you. I mean, it looks wonderful.
Really does. Wonder what kind of batting cages they have there. Facilities.
Only you could look at the Italian Riviera and wonder what kind of batting cages they got.
It hurts there. It's rubbing it a little. You know, we talk about the Seattle offense and you know the struggles individually. But those individual struggles have created collectively just a miserable year.
Well, and Ichiro stands as maybe the standard bearer for what you're talking about. You'd figure if anyone was immune from all that, it would be Ichiro, but he's not.
Well, hitting the 270 clip, never in his career below 300. On base percentage just above 300. But you talk about their offense. They're last in the major leagues in batting average, last in on base percentage, tied for last in slugging percentage. They don't walk a lot. They strike out a lot. It just, it's been a real test of patience for Eric Wedge and for the Seattle Mariner pitching staff.
Wedge is a strong-willed guy, and I think a great choice to manage this particular group. He says his favorite movies are anything with John Wayne in it. And that's the kind of steely resolve I think that is really needed for Seattle right now.
Well, that and a right-handed bat.
Ichiro fouls it off his foot.
Unless the Duke could swing it right-handed, drive the ball out of the park. That's, and you look at the success that Ichiro has had, and another year over 150 singles. Hall of Famers right there.
Well, Pete Rose never hit 20 home runs in a season, never drove in 90 runs, but obviously a guy you wanted up there. See, this is not Ichiro hitting into double plays, really. He did. 4-6-3. They turn it. It stays 1-0. In the postseason once again, a win here last night in Arlington coupled with an Angels loss to the Oakland Athletics. That's what got it done. 1-0 Rangers today. Felix Hernandez is behind. He deals a strike. Esteban Herman, then Andy Chavez and David Murphy, followed by Michael Young, perhaps here in the third. Josh Hamilton a day off today. Josh Hamilton a home run last night. That solely hit to short, and Seager can't get rid of it in time. Esteban Herman is on for a second time today. Just that momentary bobble costing Well, and as for Hamilton, if we check out the replay real quick, that is going to be an error.
Well, you see just off the bare hand, he gets those in-between hops. As an infielder, you either want to catch it on the short hop or play back and get a nice, easy hop. That was kind of in between, almost handcuffed him.
Andy Chavez, the batter, he's playing in place of Hamilton today. And was going to mention Hamilton going deep last night for the 6th time in 10 games. Beltre's on the bench today, the former Mariner, and Eric, he's gone deep 9 times in the last 12 games.
What a September he's had. Leads all of Major League Baseball with RBIs in the month of September.
I think Beltre's a little bummed he's not playing today. He and Felix Hernandez are best buddies from when they played together in Seattle. And when the former took the ladder deep last weekend, they were talking stuff to each other like Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson and White Men Can't Jump. Runner goes. The emergency hack by Chavez to make sure that Herman would not be caught.
Well, and you watch this, and even with the non-starters, Ron Washington still not afraid to employ a hit and run, to make things happen. I mean, this is a ball club that is so well balanced, can beat you so many different ways. They can drive the ball out of the park. They can manufacture runs. They can steal bases. Their bullpen is outstanding. Starting staff, I mean, there really isn't a glaring weakness or vulnerability with this Texas Ranger ball club.
Well, they are scoring a ton of runs of late. Matched up against Felix Hernandez today. I think it's kind of interesting to point out that on this weekend last year, Eric, when the Rangers had just clinched and they played all reserves the next day, they went up against a very tough pitcher, Trevor Cahill, and they creamed him. They scored 13 runs that day. Hard hit. Seager gets rid of it. Nicely turned, and the Mariners get 2. That's 2 double plays induced by Hernandez. He got Murphy to hit into 1 in the first.
That's a great job by Seager to come back after muffing that previous ball. Makes a nice play, gets rid of it. A nice feed to Ackley. Turns and gets the speedy runner at first base.
The North Carolina Tar Heel double play combination, Seager and Ackley.
Well, you know, you talk about this Ranger ball club last year and coming out and beating Cahill the next day. Remember, you know, a lot of these guys, this is their time to shine today. This is their playoff game because they don't get out there often.
Murphy rolls one into right. Michael Young coming up. Hey, tomorrow a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. It starts with the Giants taking on the Eagles, or the high-flying Lions battling the Vikings. I just said high-flying Lions. I can't quite believe that, but that's true. Cardinals, Seahawks in there, Packers and Bears. Coverage begins tomorrow with the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for the games in your area. Michael Young, the owner of a rare 200-hit, 100 RBI season. On average, you might see 1 of those a year in the majors. This year we've got 3. We've got Young and a couple of Red Sox, Adrian Gonzalez and Jacoby Ellsbury. Look at that. You add all the other 200-hit seasons that the Rangers have ever had. And it's just about what Michael Young has done all by himself.
He's just a hit collector. That's what he is. Every single year. And if he played in a larger market, played in a LA or Chicago, New York, this guy would be mentioned in the same breath as other superstars of the game.
Slowly hit towards third. Could it be number 207? It is for Michael Young.
That is hit collection at its best right there.
Reminiscent of the hit that he got for his 2000th career. It was a slow roller up near third base. And it's funny, the faces of the Houston Astros franchise, Bagwell and Biggio, their 2,000th career hits were also strangely just like this. Michael Young, no doubt, the face of this Rangers franchise.
Yeah, Liddy coming in, making a nice play by picking it up barehanded, but has no play at all.
You know what else Young is a collector of besides hits? I misspoke. That's number 208 for Michael Young. Helmets. When runs score, and Michael Young is not on base, when he's just in the dugout, he takes it upon himself to go over to whoever scored the run, take the helmet off that individual, and nice and clean, put it back where it belongs in the helmet rack.
I can promise you there's one guy he doesn't do that to this year.
Beltre?
You got it.
Yeah, doesn't like his head messed with. Well, you said he was versatile. He does a lot of things. I mean, even, kind of picking up around the dugout. It's something that he does. I think anytime Mitch Moreland bats with a couple men on base, you flash back in your mind to that great at bat he had against the San Francisco Giants in the World Series. Really the one positive thing that the Rangers were able to do in that what turned out to be a 5-game series against the Giants. Mitch Moreland had a tremendous 9-pitch at bat and finally parked one with a couple men on. And you talk to these players, Eric, you talk to Ron Washington, you really do get the sense that because that showing that they had in the World Series was not what they feel was representative of their talent, I think that really does kind of drive them even more to get back, stick the landing this time.
Yeah, obviously not satisfied with last year, and probably even made them more hungry.
Moreland questioning the wisdom of that strike call, but that is strike 3, and that's it for the Rangers in the bottom of the 3rd. Home run was met this way by Elvis Andrus. He watched it on the big board here in Arlington, and he decided I'll have a home run trot too. I'll have what he's having.
Yeah, funny, a lot of the guys stayed, watched the game on the field. Fans were in the ballpark. And I think it just goes to show you the relationship that this Ranger ball club has with their fans.
Elvis lobbied. He wanted that counted as his 6th home run of the year, but that. Kyle Seager, the batter. And Scott Feldman is the man on the mound. He pitched a third inning as well. Only 2 innings out of Alexei Ogando. We'll talk to Ron Washington about that in just a moment. Now, the very first time the Rangers won their division, it was the Angels they beat head-to-head while the Mariners were losing to the A's out west. 15 years later, everyone moved over one chair, but pretty much the same deal. West Coast team loses, Rangers wrap it up in Arlington, and around midnight, everybody goes crazy. Little bloop in the left field, and Seager is on with a base hit. We mentioned Ogando is out after only 2 innings. Let's ask Ron Washington, what's up with that?
Yeah, we did. We seen what we wanted to see. Just make sure that he's using his pitches and getting downhill. Right now, we haven't decided what we want to do, and we just want to make sure that he's fresh.
Wash, talk a little bit about Michael Young, the year he's had, and what he's meant to this ball club.
Well, he's certainly having a tremendous year. It's not over with yet, and I know he will continue. And he meant everything to us. He's done it at first base, done it at third. Done it in the DH slot, done it at second base, never complained, just show up every day and go about his business. He's a pro's pro.
All right, the big question for you, Skipper, the guy that played you in Moneyball, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
An accurate portrayal?
Accurate. He was very decisive.
Like the Skipper. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right. That was Ron Washington. Dustin Ackley bounces one on the warning track up and into that Mariner bullpen, and that goes as a double to make it second and third for Mike Carp.
Well, this pitch out over the plate, Ackley does a nice job driving it. The warning track bounces over that 390 sign. And Ackley's a guy that this Mariner organization is very excited about. Talk about him. You talk about Carp up at the plate right now.
Well, having watched Ackley go about his business, and this is rookie year, the phrase I keep coming back to, Eric, with him is quiet resolve. Very businesslike out there. Not unlike the way Michael Young has had at it for the Rangers.
Right, it's a businesslike approach. There's not a lot of messing around, not a lot of goofing around. Get out there, you get in that box, and it's all business.
Infield back here for the Rangers. Mike Carp has a gift-wrapped RBI opportunity. And he pops it into right center. Martin lines it up. Throw is going to go to third. This game now tied at 1. RBI number 45 for Carp, just looking to make some contact there. And that's no small thing, actually, Eric, because the Mariners have had a tough time down the stretch here making contact.
Well, a nice job by Carp. 2 fashions. Not only does he get the run in, but he moves the runner from second to third. So that's a very productive at-bat. It's not just about making contact or getting that run in. He not only gets the run in, but moves the runner to third base.
And now the infield will come in for the Rangers, trying to cut down the man from third to the plate if they can. Justin Smoak, the hitter. And Smoak will just punch it into center field. 2-1 Seattle. Miguel Olivo will come up next. Today's game sponsored by AT Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. And by Burger King, where you can enjoy the flavor of soft serve in several delicious combinations. Well, the Mariners getting Seager and Ackley on base. Getting Seager in, Ackley in. Now with Justin Smoak at first, the batter Miguel Olivo. Infield a double play depth. That ball just kind of frisbeed up there by Feldman, 76 miles an hour.
Well, and remember that the 3 previous hitters, all left-handed hitters against Feldman. If he's going to be used into the postseason, sure he'll be matched up against right-handed hitters or trying to give them an inning or 2 in the middle of the game.
His Texas team 14-6 in September. Trying to bring that momentum with them in October. And yeah, there's a little bit of conjecture now exactly who's on that roster going forward. A couple guys out of the mix, it appears, in that bullpen, though, Eric, with injuries and illness. Mike Gonzalez has not been feeling well for a while, has lost some weight, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be ready to answer the bell in a few days when the playoffs start.
It doesn't sound like it. Low as well with the hammy.
Olivo chasing. That's the second out here in the fourth inning. Folks, you can take live at Major League Baseball games with you when you download the At Bat app at the App Store. Yeah, Lowe, the former Seattle Mariner, was really having a fine summer out of that Ranger bullpen, but warming up the other day, they strained a hamstring, and that's going to cost him some time. I guess more than anything else, what Ranger fans are eager to hear about is what is that order of the pitching rotation. C.J. Wilson gets game one. Everybody knows that. Nobody seems to know what happens after. Ball and a strike. Feldman to Kennedy. These guys, by the way, brawled. Well, not Nolan Ryan, but Kennedy and Feldman. When Kennedy played for the Angels several years ago, he charged the mound when Feldman came in on him. We referenced earlier what happens when you charge the mound and Nolan's on it. Feldman taking care of Kennedy. However, Seattle does some damage. They get a couple in the top of the fourth. The Mariners lead it 2-1. On the Texas Rangers. The Rangers wrapping up the AL West last night after the Angels lost to the Oakland A's. Josh Lewin, Eric Karros, great to be with you today on a perfect day for baseball. This summer here in Texas has been, with a capital H, hot. Now that we're into fall, well, the early returns are very good. You had about 85 degrees today. Catchers appreciate that. Matt Trainer is a Ranger catcher this afternoon. Into right field. Ichiro gliding back. And Felix Hernandez collects his first out here in the 4th inning. Talking to Eric Wedge, the Mariner manager. Must be nice to have Felix Hernandez on the mound every 5th day.
Yeah, he's a special guy. He's a special guy on and off the field. You know, he's a leader of our pitching staff. About as consistent as any starting pitcher in the big leagues, and I'm just proud to have him in a Seattle Mariners uniform.
Eric, you've had success in rebuilding organizations. You did it in Cleveland. You're asked to do it now in Seattle. How far away are you from rebuilding this ball club?
Well, I think we're closer than most people think we are. We've got so many young players here that are going to be a part of this future. You know, we'll continue to add pieces and just pick and choose in regard to what we need here. You know, Jack Serenchik's on board with everything we're doing. Ownership's on board with what we're doing, and they believe in what we're doing. And, you know, Seattle's hungry for a winning ball club, and that's what we're building to do here.
Eric, are you comfortable that the young players that we're talking about have their marching orders and know what's expected of them going forward?
Yeah, they know what's expected of them right now. They know what's expected of them this winter, and they're going to understand the expectations for next year. So we'll just keep moving forward.
Keep building it, buddy. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right. You don't turn a battleship around easily or immediately. It takes a while to kind of swerve that thing slowly through the water, and that's what Eric Wedge is charged with doing. Martin, another base hit. His first big league start. He's 2 for 2. Time for a DirecTV game break as the Red Sox continue to implode before our very eyes. Russell Martin sends one to left. Carl Crawford can't get it, and it would get worse. Because next up, Derek Jeter. Now he will take John Lester out. Would you believe 8-0 Yankees? Get every Major League game in the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Wow.
Yeah, not good if you're a Red Sox fan, just because John Lester seemed to be, I mean, that's the one guy we could count on. One guy that we could put out there on the mound.
Gentry pops up a bunt. Olivo can't get to it. Ooh, and he might be hurt. He went into that brick wall. Glancing down to see where that wall is, and he still slid right into it.
It looks like he banged his right knee. The shin guard didn't protect it, the knee part of it. That's a little brick on bone right there. That's not going to feel good. Now, he did the right thing by sliding feet first into the wall, but it looked like that top of the shin guard. You see, working with the knee. The knee had impact on the brick wall.
Olivo leading this Mariners team in both home runs and runs batted in. Now he got that leg right in the crumple zone, basically.
Yeah, but it was the impact against the brick wall. Like I said, that knee guard on the right knee just seemed to come loose, and it was just knee against brick wall. But he looks to be all right.
Been a nice pickup for the Mariners this year, who have really failed to develop their own catchers. They've tried a bunch of different ways to go about that. I don't think it's in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but if you've read Moneyball, the author of that suggests that the A's fleeced the White Sox in the Olivo for Chad Bradford deal. But you know what? Olivo, as it turns out, is not half bad.
Well, leading the ball club in home runs and RBIs. Very serviceable guy.
After all that, a quick throw to first base. Martin is back. Well, the Rangers got this done, winning the division, Eric, navigating some decent-sized obstacles. They've had to deal with all three of their biggest sluggers, Hamilton, Cruz, and Beltre, missing about a quarter of the season apiece. Well, the other key to the Rangers' success down the stretch, I think, was that their young starting pitching never wavered. Derek Holland, Matt Harrison, we saw Ogando today, all were various shades of unproven. Now they've won 13, 14, and 15 games respectively.
Yeah, you know, last year Holland and Ogando, 31 wins. Between them, 42 this year. That can't be right. But as you mentioned, the three of those guys, while they hoped they would get that sort of production, I'm not sure that the Rangers expected it.
Gentry hit by the pitch. Liddy was hit near the bottom of the order, actually at the bottom of the order in the third inning. Now the number 8 guy for the Rangers is hit. And yeah, getting back to the point about the pitching, I think it is worth remembering that this same concern about unproven starting was with the Rangers last year too. C.J. Wilson had never done it. Colby Lewis was back from Japan. You didn't know what you were going to get. But Harrison and Holland give you two lefties that you can really count on. And boy, C.J. Wilson, who is now in his free agency year coming up, he's going to go in there with an ERA of 2.9.
Yeah, well, remember last year the Rangers went out and acquired Cliff Lee. I mean, they felt like they needed that guy. And this year at the trade deadline, it was moves to bolster the bullpen. They were satisfied with their starters.
All 5 starters have at least 13 wins, something no team has done in baseball since 1977. In there to Blanco, 1-1. Blanco supplying the Rangers RBI in the second today. His first RBI not on a home run all year. And Felix Hernandez with the pitch count in the mid-50s. You figure he's good for 6 or 7 innings today. Boy, it is insane to think that Felix Hernandez, Eric, is going to be just 25 when next year begins. He's already won a Cy Young. Seems like he's been around for a dozen seasons, doesn't it? But
yeah,
he's
really
25.
Has. Yeah, really has. But he's 25, but you just wonder, you know, the wear and tear on that arm. You know, he is young, but every year, a lot of innings.
About 250 of them last year. And led the American League. He was dubbed King Felix really before he was old enough to wear the crown. He debuted in the big leagues, remember, at age 18. And last year definitely lived up to all that hype.
It's pretty good company right there. 2 left-handers, Mark Langston, and a big unit, Randy Johnson.
Squibbed right past the mound. Safe there and safe at first as well. Gentry, a very exciting, if not gymnastic, base runner. He's in there safely at second base.
Well, watch Hernandez. I think he thinks I'm going to try to grab it barehanded. Then says, you know what? I'm going to let that get up the middle. Let my defense make the play. See, Ackley's in a spot right there where the only thing he can do if he's trying to get that runner is make the tag. Gentry does a nice job by going low. See, Ackley, he comes up with the ball. Gentry going down near the ground avoids the tag. Got the bases loaded now.
For the top of the order, Esteban Herman. Into left field it goes, sinking quickly. It's down, but there could be a play at third of all things. Nobody's there. And the Rangers have tied the game at 2. No one covering at third base. And you're thinking that's the weirdest force play ever, but nobody was near the actual bag.
Well, the reason nobody's at third base is Liddy goes in as the cutoff man. from the left fielder. Now you watch Liddy. He comes in. He thinks that ball is going to be caught, so he's going to be a cutoff man. Nobody over at third base. Esteban Herman thankful that there was not a play made at third. Nothing worse than the bases loaded to hit that line drive single to left and then ultimately be a force out at third.
Andy Chavez will have an opportunity to break open a 2-2 game, and if he's going to be on that active playoff roster, this is a guy that has already done some things in the postseason with his glove. 5 years ago, this was Game 7 of the NLCS. Scott Rowland thinks he's got the home run. No, sir. What an amazing catch. Left field. Down again. 3-2 Rangers. Consecutive pitches looped in front of Carp. Martin, Gentry, Blanco, Herman, Chavez. Not exactly household names, but they've all reached.
And remember, Gentry did a nice job of sliding into second base to avoid the tag. Chavez does a nice job right there of taking that outside pitch, running away from him, shooting it to left field.
That's 10 hits off Felix Hernandez already. Murphy with the bases loaded behind 0-1. They did give Herman a hit on that little roller. Or Blanco, excuse me, the one that Felix Hernandez let go by. So that's 4 singles in the inning and a hit batsman. Slowly hit, another base hit for the Rangers. Murphy plating 1, they're looking for 2. They got it. They are bleeding Felix Hernandez to death here.
Just as you mentioned, this ball, just a ground ball up the middle. I think Seager thought that he could make that play. We saw him make that double play earlier in the game. But that's what you get with young players. You get inconsistency. One time they'll make a play, the next time they don't make the play. At the big league level, you've got to do it all the time.
Well, the Texas Rangers shock troops have come up with 11 hits in 3 1/3 against Hernandez. And that one might drive Felix Hernandez right from the game. It hits him. Michael Young, a line drive, and Hernandez is hurt. Base hit number 12, the most Hernandez has allowed in a game all year, and that one hurt.
Yeah, that looked like it got all forearm right there.
Well, the Angels had Dan Herron take one off the wrist not too long ago, and a scary moment for the Angels. And Felix Hernandez, the last pitch he'll throw of 2011. The Mariners will get time to warm up somebody from the bullpen and get them in with the bases loaded to face Mitch Moreland. 5-2 Texas. exciting coverage of the Barclays Premier League as Tottenham takes on Arsenal. Coverage begins next Sunday. It's in high def on Fox. Check local listings for the start time in your area. Jeff Gray comes into the ball game after Felix Hernandez had to leave. That was a scary-looking comebacker right there off the bat of Michael Young. Base hit number 209 this season for Young, who just might be a batting champion, Eric. He's within a couple of points of Adrian Gonzalez now. But, boy, this looked awful for Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, breaking ball out over the plate. He shoots this ball right back up the middle, all forearm, and you can see Felix gets hit. The only thing is, watching now, he shakes it, which tells me if you shake your arm after you got hit, I mean, maybe I guess you could break it, but if you're shaking it the minute after you got hit, it's probably more of a real stinger. Hopefully he's okay, because that is one valuable right arm.
Second straight year that the Rangers, a day after they clinched the West, chase a really good pitcher with 12 hits in the books. They did that to Trevor Cahill last year. He lasted 4 innings, allowed 12 hits, and the Rangers won that game, by the way, 17-8. Now it's Felix Hernandez, last year's Cy Young, and a 12-hit performance in 3 1/3.
Yeah, but remember, this Texas Ranger ball club, some of the guys that are out there have been in the lineup, in and out. Some have been regular everyday players, and these guys are getting their opportunity. They want to show Ron Washington what they can do for the postseason.
Well, Mitch Moreland at the plate right here does need to get going, Eric. You're right. He's 11 out of 71 and wants to show that man, Ron Washington, that what he did last October, he can maybe do again this October. Very slowly hit. Gray's coming home, and he missed the connection. Got a chance again, but a bobble by Olivo, and it's the bad news Bears moving. On a ball that didn't go 20 feet, 2-run score.
At first, he doesn't have a clean handle on the ball. Makes a wild throw. Now Olivo, he doesn't get it, and then throws it past the pitcher. And you watch right here, Gray doesn't have a good grip. It's almost like he's got it in his palm. Olivo comes to get it. He bobbles it. Fires it past Gray.
Backed up, however, so Moreland didn't advance.
I mean, if you're the Seattle Mariners, the season just can't end soon enough. I mean, the bottom line is you've seen what you've seen. You know what you've got to do going into the offseason. It's not as if the next 4 days are going to open up eyes and you're going to have some revelation.
Eric Wedge was very on point, though, lately, telling the media that he needs to communicate to all these young players. They need to do right in the offseason whatever it takes to get them in the proper frame of mind and body type to compete for 162 games next year.
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing about it is you can go out and tell somebody what to do, but are they capable of doing it? Do they physically have the tools and the ability to compete at this level, at a competitive level? And for me, if I'm looking at the Seattle Mariners, I need a right-handed bat. I'm not talking about a complimentary bat. I'm talking about a right-handed guy you can put in the middle of the lineup. And really, the only way you do that, you got to go out and get somebody via trade or free agency. And free agency, quite frankly, the problem you have in Seattle, if you are ownership, is to attract an offensive player to come hit in that ballpark. Just not a place you want to take your bat and say, yeah, I'm going to go swing and hit it at this ballpark. Boy, I mean, it's not like Coors Field.
This, however, is a very friendly hitting environment. And the Rangers have a 6-run bottom of the 4th working. They're up 7-2. Matt Traynor has made the only 2 outs of this inning. Leonis Martin comes up next. It's time for a DirecTV game break. We mentioned the Yankees have an 8-0 lead. Here's how it's gotten to 8-0. Jesus Montero with a base hit to the base of the wall. John Lester driven from that game. Felix Hernandez driven from this game. So Two of last year's top 4 Cy Young finishers have very short afternoons on Fox today. That one outside to Martin. Now, if Boston can't come back, that opens it up for Tampa Bay or the Angels to get at least a little bit closer now.
Well, and remember, Boston has that doubleheader tomorrow against the Yankees. And you figure very tough to sweep a ball club, especially if you're trying to sweep the Yankees, and especially if you're Boston playing the way you're playing right now. Figure you're probably at best split that tomorrow. And if Tampa or the Angels, they take care of their business, could be looking at a real race come Monday.
The Red Sox will finish up at Baltimore. Buck Showalter, former Ranger manager, former Yankee manager, has a chance to kind of make a difference. Back to the mound, and Gray has got it. But the Rangers score a half a dozen runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. They're up 7-2 on Fox. Left the mound in considerable pain after taking that liner off the bat of Michael Young. And a big day for Michael Young with 2 hits and a walk. Mariners try to chip back in it against Scott Feldman here on Fox, top of the 5th. As Robinson fouls one just now, we are getting the injury report. A contusion, no broken bone on the forearm there for Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, you know, when I saw it, I didn't think it was broken, because right after he got hit, he shook it like he was like, oh, ow. It's broke. Nobody's shaking anything. Well, good to hear that it's just a contusion. But contusions still hurt, so. Now watch this, Josh. See, hit back. Now watch. Here's the pressure.
There's a shake. Yeah.
Ow, shake. Whoa. And even pressure on it there on the ground.
Down the left field line. That goes as a foul ball. Hernandez giving up mostly singles. One was on a bunt, and the couple of doubles that he allowed, Eric, not exactly smashed. Martin maybe in the second inning. That one was pretty legit, but the one from Esteban Herman was a hustling double on a little squibber past the shortstop.
Yeah, you know, some of those balls found holes up the middle, dunked in front of the left fielder as well. You know, you look at the numbers, you go 12 hits. Whoa, man. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as if the Rangers were just driving the ball all over the ballpark.
Rip and a miss, and down goes Robinson. That is 3 straight strikeouts for Feldman now after he got in a little bit of trouble in that 4th inning.
Well, and remember that the trouble he had were predominantly with the left-handed hitters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, I'm sure in the postseason that Ron Washington doesn't anticipate having to use Feldman against left-handed hitters unless he's just trying to eat some innings up in the middle of the game.
Alex Liddy, the batter, against Feldman. You got to grow your beard out like Feldman.
Not happening.
Did I pay you to do it or no?
That might, you could get away with that if you're wearing a hat and sweating out on the mound, but that's not going to work too well in a TV booth. Or for that matter, at my house. Some guys can pull that off, some can't. And some that can't still try to pull it off.
This is true. Well, you had the full-on mane of hair up top going until about 2 weeks ago. What happened there?
That's some sort of Lion King look that had to be remedied.
Patrick Dempsey tweeted in, wow, look at the hair on Karros.
Yeah, wasn't good. Although that's a long way to go right there, that beard from Brian Wilson.
Well, yes. The Giants would appear anyway. Last year's World Series champs. They're all but eliminated right now.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't look good, but they're still right around where the Angels are. I mean, they're on life support. The Atlanta Braves lost today. St. Louis won. Remember, Atlanta goes in for 3 against the Phillies.
Chop ball behind the bag, base hit for Liddy. He's been on base twice now. Yeah, that's the other race we haven't really talked about, but I think bears some talking about. That National League wild card where the Braves and the Cardinals are the ones I guess are keeping the closest watch on. You're right, the Giants aren't dead quite yet, but it's close.
Yeah, and remember, Atlanta finishes their final 3 of the season with the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Phillies really will dictate who the wild card representative will be. I mean, they can almost decide who they want to play in the first round by how they approach those final 3 games.
Ichiro, the batter. Boy, it has been a crazy set of twists and turns for those St. Louis Cardinals the last few days. Giving up a 6-run 9th to the Mets and then stealing one in the 9th yesterday from the Cubs.
Yeah, they beat the Cubs on a wild pitch with the bases loaded. They were down by 1 run going into the bottom of the 9th.
Big swing from Ichiro, but that's just a foul ball straight back.
You know, that's one of the things in each of the wild card races. It seems like that team that's out in front just cannot seem to put the other guys away.
No.
And they've had opportunities. I mean, we mentioned that the Red Sox, they've done their best work the last 2 days.
Runner goes and Trainer throws, and that is not in time. Liddy into second base. And Feldman is pretty easy to run on. That's been kind of the knock on him for years.
Yeah, deliberate to the plate, but now what this does is this moves the first baseman Moreland off the bag, provides him more range with the left-handed hitting Ichiro.
And as we've talked about, very simply a down year for the great Ichiro. He's going to need 4 hits per game the rest of the way to get to 200 of them. That includes today, and he's 0 for 2 so far. Reaches out, pokes it towards short. Blanco throws out Ichiro. Runner moves to third. Well, staying in the National League, the Brewers we know are going forward. What, Ryan Braun stand and watch that?
Raise that bat up too.
A 3-run home run.
He's excited.
He's done it again.
The Brewers are an interesting team. On the field, off the field, they've got enough pitching, it looks like, to match up with some people. There's a strike to Seager. And congrats to Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks. They wrapped up the NL West yesterday.
Yeah, great story out there. Kevin Towers, the general manager. Ian Kennedy having a great year on the mound. Our best wishes to President Derek Hall as well.
Yeah.
Diagnosed the other day with prostate cancer.
He'll beat that.
It's exactly what he said. I will win.
It's a worst to first for the Diamondbacks in that NL West. So yeah, 3 different divisions decided last night within about an hour and a half or 2 hours of each other. Outside to Seager. And again, for these Rangers, it's pretty weird that the 5 times they've won their division, 3 of those times it's happened, someone else was losing rather than them winning to get in. Seemingly a buzzkill, but judging from the stench of cigar smoke and champagne in that clubhouse, they celebrated their good fortune just fine. And ginger ale, too, by the way, for Josh Hamilton, we should point out.
And C.J. Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just had a remarkable season. Just consistent all year long.
Bouncing away from Trainer, and he has no idea where the ball is, so that lets the run come on home at 7-3. Liddy's stolen base essentially setting that up. He moved to third on the grounder by Ichiro, then scores on the wild pitch.
Well, Liddy does a nice job of recognizing the ball away from Trainer. You know, and those are the things, if you're Eric Wedge, you want to see. You want to see the young guys continue to do those sorts of things. Still continue to play the game. You know, you're looking for anything if you're the manager right now or if you're a scout in that organization.
Rammed down the right field line, foul from Seager. Well, the Mariners just never got it going this year. Lost year for Sean Figgins, who's been shut down for a while now because of a hip issue.
Well, and remember as well, Milton Bradley at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You were counting on him.
Taken, and that's ball 4. Been a long inning for Feldman. Mike Maddox will head out to have a chat with Scott Feldman now, with the 5th inning not quite over. Visit Lowe's to pick up your instant win game card for a chance to win World Series tickets, compliments of Scott's. We're just talking about those Milwaukee Brewers who are trying to fight their way into a World Series, and the pitching coach for the Rangers, Mike Maddox, they stole him away from those Milwaukee Brewers. 6 years Maddox spent in Milwaukee, and the Brewers had considerable success on his watch. It was written locally here in the Metroplex. If he can do that for the Rangers, what he did in Milwaukee, he should get the key to the city of Arlington.
Well, with the way his staff is thrown this year, he should have a key.
Now, he arrived essentially to implement the Nolan Ryan pitching philosophy, which is essentially shut up and pitch. Get in shape, stay mentally tough, don't give in. And there's pitch count nonsense, we're not going to have it.
Well, you know, I think there's a mental approach that Nolan Ryan provides, but you can't approach pitching like Nolan Ryan did, because not many people, if any, have the physical attributes that Nolan had. And I think a guy like Mike Maddox, who had to just scratch and claw his way to survive in the big leagues.
Trainer has to throw on down again and again. The Mariners steal one on that deliberate delivery from Feldman. No,
getting back to Mike Maddox, you can really learn from a guy like that, because he knows all the nuances, all the little tricks that it takes to survive as a pitching coach, or excuse me, as a pitcher in the big leagues. And you take that and you apply it to somebody that has some real talent, and you can create an excellent pitcher, and that's what he's done.
Close, but no. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It is true you can't do it exactly like Nolan. When Ted Williams was a manager here years ago, he got frustrated that the guys couldn't hit like he could hit. Well, no one can hit like Ted Williams. I think Frank Robinson had some of that too. When he was a manager or a hitting coach, you get frustrated. Geez, why can't these guys do it the way I do it?
It's one thing to be able to do it. It's another thing to be able to teach it.
On the ground, second base. 32 pitches to get through that inning for Scott Feldman, but he is through it with a 7-3 lead here on Fox. Proud to support youth baseball across the country. With Eric Karros, Josh Lewin here in Arlington, where the Rangers just might set themselves an attendance record. Got an average 41,000-ish for these last couple of home games, and they'll have that. They'll be near 3 million for the year. Gentry, slow roller near short. And the pride of Van Buren, Arkansas, is out by a couple of steps. Last night, the L.A. Dodgers' Matt Kemp. Tell us about him, Eric Karros.
He's having a pretty good year, right on the cusp of a triple crown year. Tied for the home run lead, leading the league in RBIs, just off the pace, batting average.
So is he your MVP?
He's my MVP there. I'm going to give you, I told you, I gave you the Michael Young argument. The Matt Kemp argument goes as follows.
All right, I'm ready.
If I put Ryan Braun at Dodger Stadium in that lineup, does Ryan Braun have the numbers that he has this year? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say not a chance. If I put Matt Kemp in that Milwaukee Brewer lineup in that ballpark, does Matt Kemp do the same thing or does he do better? I'm saying he does even better. And for those that have not had the luxury of playing at Dodger Stadium offensively, that's not a fun place to hit. They've never had a home run leader since their move to L.A.
Closest they had was Adrian Beltre, I believe.
And remember, he's playing in the National League West, which Giants, not a fun place to hit. Petco Park, Padres, really not a fun place to hit. And so you're playing almost 100 games in non-favorable hitting spots. And what he's doing offensively, I mean, we haven't seen this done. Somebody dominate a league like this. What, 50 years, 60 years? Joe Medwick, Triple Crown winner for the Cardinals.
Knocked down and a underhand toss bobbled by Gray. Blanco ends up reaching base. Blanco's been up 3 times and on 3 times. That ball essentially was mishandled a couple times.
Well, Kennedy does a nice job of getting off the bag, then regrouping. He makes a toss. It's a little high. And see, this is the problem. Gray catches the ball, and then he looks to find the bag. So he never really catches the ball. You know, it's, okay, there's the ball. It's almost in my glove. Now I've got to find the bag. I'm going to look down at the bag. Uh-oh, I didn't catch the ball. These, again, are the things that Eric Wedge and his staff, you look at these sorts of things. These are mistakes that can't be made, or you don't like to see be made.
They're giving the error to Kennedy. That is the 3rd Mariner error of the afternoon. Go back to Matt Kemp, and again, you look at the chase to get to the top of the National League leaderboard in batting average, and boy, he's close right now. There's what you're talking about with home runs. I think the best you ever finished was 5th, even though you hit 32, 34 home runs a year, Mr. Karras, a couple times for the Dodgers. It's tough to be a Dodger in home runs in a season in the National League. There's your runs batted in total. You were 4th one year. I was trying to pump you up, that's all.
Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring you into it.
I think just again with what Matt Kemp has done this year, and you know, the argument's going to be, well, the Dodgers, they're not in first place. But again, what Matt Kemp has done for that ball club, the consistency he's had all year long. Is he the most valuable player? I think he is. And that's not to take anything away from Ryan Braun, because he's had an unbelievable year and he's a great player.
All right, so you were on record, Matt Kemp in one league, Michael Young in the other.
Yep.
Shattered bat, base hit Esteban Herman. Blanco takes a turn, he'll hold. 13 base hits for the Rangers today. We're only in the 5th inning. Herman has 3 of them. And again, an emotional time for Esteban Herman. His mom passing away this past week. He had to leave to attend the funeral and kind of run things back there. Just back in town, on base 4 times with 3 hits, plus reached on an error in the 3rd. No Kinsler, no Beltre, no Napoli, no Hamilton, no Cruz, no Andrews. No problem for the Rangers today. 7 runs on 13 hits. Chavez has a couple of those hits. And this Ranger team, Eric, they've got a shot here to surpass what they accomplished in 1999. Most franchise wins ever in one season was 95 of them. Right now the Rangers at 91. Squibber to second base. 4, 6, 3, double play. The Mariners have turned 3 of those. Rangers by 4 at the end of 5 on Fox. Chevy season of doing. And by Michelin, a better way forward. A 6-run bottom of the 4th inning. That's got the Rangers on top of the Mariners today, 7-3. And here they come with Mike Karp, number 4 hitter. Ladled in there softly from Feldman, who came on after Ogando gave the team a couple of solid innings today. Rangers wrapping up the AL West last night, getting some help out west when the Angels lost to the A's 3-1. Really nice moment before the Rangers retreated to the clubhouse for a more traditional celebration. They ran in a big group down in the left field corner, mixing and mingling with the fans that were hanging around. About probably 8,000 or 10,000 fans still here close to midnight last night, a couple hours after the game ended.
Well, they had that fireworks show after the game, and then after the Angels lost, they lit some more fireworks.
The Angels hanging around for the entire regular season with a tattered bullpen and without Kendrys Morales. Got to give LA some credit. They only recently went away and still hanging in there for a wild card for now. Karp is out. Smoke comes up. Smoke, remember, came up as a Ranger and could have been a part of all this. Just hanging out, watching TV is essentially what all those fans were doing. And when the last out was recorded, on went the championship gear.
Well, you know, you talk about the Angels hanging around all year, and what I kind of find interesting, you know, Mike Napoli, a huge part of this Ranger ball club and the success they've had this year, was with the Angels last year, and traded to Toronto. Toronto, in turn, traded into Texas. And then the other thing, Adrian Beltre, the free agent sign here, he really was close to going to the Angels, wanted to play in Southern California, has a home there. Things just did not work out. But you're talking about Beltre and Napoli wearing Texas Ranger uniforms as opposed to wearing Angel uniforms. And I would argue that that changes the balance of the division winner.
Absolutely. That ball captured in center field. Smoke is out. And just kind of piggyback on what you're talking about, I'll go you one further. A guy who's not even here anymore should probably be mentioned. Reliever Frankie Francisco. 7 years ago, when it looked like the Rangers may shock the world, make the playoffs, everything unspooled when Francisco threw that chair into the stands in Oakland. Remember that? Flash forward to 2011, the Rangers trade Francisco to Toronto for a guy the Blue Jays had just acquired days before. It's the guy you're talking about, Mike Napoli. And the Francisco for Napoli trade, I think you're right, may be the big reason the Rangers are out in front of the Angels. The season that Napoli's having, and he's having it here and not there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he would have ever had the season that he's having under Ron Washington for Mike Scioscia.
That's a great point.
And the reason, you know, Ron Washington has let Napoli just go out and catch, and to be a catcher, you know, to play for Mike Scioscia, that's demanding. I mean, Mike Scioscia expects a lot, and rightfully so, from his catchers.
Oh, he was one of the best ever to play that position defensively. So,
and it's interesting because Mike Napoli has done a great job here catching, throws out runners at a 40% clip, offensively an OPS over 1,000. I mean, he's been everything and more. Well, I don't think anybody could have expected Mike Napoli to do what he's done this year.
No, it's
both on and, you know, on field, behind the plate.
Swept along towards third. I think it's the old saw about one man's trash has been another man's treasure. The Rangers with Napoli and a whole bunch of other guys heading to the playoffs this year again. Was just talking about the difference Mike Napoli has made for these Texas Rangers coming over from the Angels. Very cute. Napoli ever after, like that. You know, before trading for Napoli, the Rangers internally discussed Manny Ramirez instead. What if that had happened? You sign Manny Ramirez instead of bring Mike Napoli in.
Well, he would have been gone after a week.
Yeah, right.
Not sure who would have been DH. You know, we always focus on what Napoli has done offensively. And as I mentioned, he's thrown runners out at a 40% clip.
He's caught 10 shutouts.
Caught 10 shutouts. You realize his ERA as a catcher, his ERA is the best in the American League. A 3.19 catcher's ERA. You never would have thought. But that's how much impact Mike Napoli has had, not only for the Texas Rangers, but on this division.
Well, and you're right. You wouldn't have thought it because all those years you heard out of Anaheim, kind of the rub against the guy was, well, he just not a great defensive player. Can't catch. Michael Young can definitely hit. He's got 2 singles today and a walk. And again, all of a sudden, there is a batting title race afoot in the American League. Michael Young creeping very, very close to the top spot. Young zaps that one towards left, and on the run is Karp to make the catch. Young having hit that line drive back off of Felix Hernandez earlier to drive him from the game, and the irony, I guess, there is they're the Roberto Clemente finalists for these two teams. The Clemente Awards about dedication on and off the field. Go to ChevyBaseball.com/Clemente and vote for the player that inspires you, and you could win a trip to the World Series. Jeff Gray to Mitch Moreland, and that is outside. Gray coming on when Hernandez got hurt. Again, the contusion is what we're told on that forearm. Michael Young, believe it or not, and again, the question was, how can we find him enough at bats? Well, leads the team in at bats, and he's within 3 points of a batting title. Moreland, and I guess to a lesser extent Nelly Cruz, who is not playing today. 2 guys the Rangers would like to get hot heading into the postseason. It's not like anybody else needs a tune-up on this team.
No, and if those guys get hot or just even back to normal, you're talking about a lineup that really 1 through 9, there's not a break for the opposing pitcher.
Yoshinori Tateyama hasn't pitched in a long time. Getting ready to come into a 7-3 game, it would appear.
You know, one of the reasons Ron Washington wants to go with 12 pitchers, or thinks he can in the postseason, not going to pinch hit for guys. Don't really need to have a deep bench. Like I said, this Texas ball club can beat you in so many ways. They can outslug you. They can play that quote-unquote little ball. They go first to third as well as any team. They steal bases. They're very aggressive. You know, I guess at the end of the day, they're athletic. They're very athletic.
Josh Hamilton plays such a graceful outfield. He's a big guy, and you don't think a guy that's built like he is, 6'4", 235, can be that graceful in left, center, and right, but he is. Moreland, a tapper towards second base. And yes, on the bag is Kennedy. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. lead things off in the 7th inning. Do you remember 9 years ago, this guy saved the championship run for the Angels with a virtuoso performance in Game 5 of the ALCS. Not 1, not 2, but 3 homers in that game to eliminate Minnesota and put the Angels where they had never been before, the World Series. 3 homers in a game from a guy who averaged a home run every 81 at-bats at that point in his career. So the odds of him hitting 3 in 3 at-bats in one game, that's staggering. The last one he hit against Johan Santana, who hadn't allowed a home run to a lefty all year that year. He hit it on an 0-2 count. You talk about the magic that was made in the postseason by the Angels. Just when it's all going right, it's going right. Well, the last thing that this guy wants to see is highlights of home runs. Yoshinori Tateyama hasn't pitched in 2 weeks, Eric, because the last time he pitched, he was in the process of giving up a grand slam for the 2nd consecutive outing.
Well, and you can see by looking at his numbers, he's around the plate. 42 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts, only 10 walks. On the bottom line, he gets by on deception.
Bottom third of the Seattle order in the top of the 7th. Alexei Ogando started, pitched 2 very clean innings. Scott Feldman went the next 4. And now it's Tateyama for the 7th. Kennedy almost coming out of his shoes trying to hit that.
This is the type of guy that's tough for a left-handed hitter, especially if the left-handed hitter is trying to pull anything. The fastball is going to have movement running away on the outside part of the plate. The breaking pitch end up in on the hands.
Kennedy like he's swinging underwater right there. Just not working out. This October, the American League's best teams looking to their brightest stars to see which one will become the newest hero, who will be the Adam Kennedy that leads them into the Fall Classic. Legends are born in October. Our exclusive coverage of the ALCS begins October 8th, only on Fox. Eric Karros will be on site for your viewing pleasure.
Still with Boston getting beat up today. Wild card is still undecided. Remember, Boston 2 games tomorrow against the Yankees. The Angels and the Rays, though, they have to win today. They have to win today.
Of all teams, the Angels finish with these Texas Rangers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday out west. We mentioned the Rays and the Yankees finish up. If you look at Sean Kelly getting ready. You made a great point. Boston having to play the doubleheader tomorrow at Yankee Stadium, and then they travel not too far, but they travel to Baltimore. And Buck Showalter, to hear it told, of course managing the Orioles now, but when a season is lost, one thing he instills in his guys, hey, let's ruin somebody else's season, and in this case it would be Boston's.
Well, and that's it. Misery loves company, and Buck Showalter right now, what he's done with his Oriole ball club over the last 2 weeks has really had an impact on the race. I mean, he played the Rays tough. He played the Angels tough.
Yeah.
Did a job on the Red Sox. And he's still going to have something to say. He gets the Red Sox 3 at home. That's their playoffs. That's their postseason. So if you're a guy on that ball club, you're going out there, and that's really your October.
Got him. Trayvon Robinson frozen.
But you take a look at that wild card, and it doesn't look like the Angels have much of an opportunity. I mean, obviously they're going to have to win out and get a lot of help. 4 back in the loss column. They've had struggles against the A's, the Angels. But see, the kicker is the Red Sox. They've got those 2 with the Yankees tomorrow, and you know, if you're a Red Sox fan, you're just hoping you get out of there with a split. And then you've got to go to Baltimore for 3. No, but again, all the while, Tampa Bay lost a couple in a row, and the Angels haven't played well. They've given away some games. Well, like I said, the ironic thing. Thursday and Friday, Boston doesn't play. And those have been their best 2 days in the last 2 weeks. They actually picked up some ground.
They've lost 16 out of 21, and they're getting smoked today 9-0.
And their best bet right now is to ask for a day off.
Moreland in on the grass will make the catch. And the bottom third of that Mariner order down in order. We're at the stretch in Arlington, 7-3 Texas. At 3 today, they cemented everything away yesterday. Time for our Burger King mini moment. In the game last night, David Murphy goes over, makes this catch. Ranger fan was trying to get it, but Murphy said, no, that's mine. And then later, same inning, David Murphy, who's a heck of a guy, says, now you can have one.
That's great.
He's a giver. Sean Kelly is in the game for Seattle. He is not allowed a run in 7 appearances, about 9 innings since making his season debut September 2. Had a second Tommy John surgery last September. You can have 2 of those now and bounce back just fine, apparently.
Well, I don't know about, guy I played with, Darren Dreifert, was a 2-time award winner of the Tommy John surgery. Hung Chi Kuo, who now pitches for the Dodgers. One's tough enough.
Now, Kelly has doubled down, and so far so good coming back. Again, for the Mariners, it's not so much about what happens these next 4 or 5 days. It's how's the mindset heading into 2012, and will there be anybody else cavalry-wise, I guess, riding in to help?
Well, it's really going to be up to the front office, and as I said, you need a right-handed big bat. I don't know how you do that or who you target, but that's definitely the role you need to fill. They've got the pitching, defensively they're okay. But offensively, as we talked about earlier, the numbers just, abysmal. There's not really a better way to put it.
No, it's very stark when you look at the number of runs the Rangers have scored, and that number starts with an 8, and for the Mariners it starts with a 5 for the season. 800 something for the Rangers.
Yeah, I don't care how good your pitching and defense is, you just can't compete like that.
Trainer down on strikes. And by the way, today's game here on Fox, sponsored by the new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. The Cuban defector Leonis Martin will take a strike, has a couple of hits today. Popping this one up. Grabbed by the shortstop Seager for out number 2. 6 straight Rangers retired. Darren O'Day, one of the bearded bullpen guys for the Rangers, getting ready. Tomorrow the Rangers start Derek Holland. And if they let him go 5 innings, again Ogando went 2 innings today, but Holland could get to 16-5 with a win tomorrow if he goes a requisite number of innings and he's got that lead. That's been a great story for the Rangers. Talk about growing one of your own. Mariners trying to do that. You mentioned, Eric, with the bats. The Rangers have done that with some arms.
And remember last year there was some question marks at the end of the year of what they were going to do with Holland. There was some in the organization that thought maybe he would be a guy that they could trade and maybe get something for. Had some struggles in the postseason. But again, just one of the stories where the guys that they hoped would mature and fulfill potential did this year. I think that's a credit to Holland, to Mike Maddox, the pitching coach.
Gentry pops it into the crowd. Right now the Rangers 91-66. And you got to like how they're closing here, Eric. Last year in September they kind of idled around 500. If they win today, they'll be 15-6 in September.
Yeah, they've been great. You know, and as you mentioned, they win today. That's 41-24 since the All-Star break.
Nolan Ryan's prediction, you saw it on that sign. He said somewhere between 90 to 95. So the countdown has been on. And Nolan has been proven accurate. Last year predicted 92 and came very close.
Well, and he also said the other day that he felt this team was better than last year, a deeper team, more talented team. You know, and maybe they are. It doesn't necessarily mean they go to the World Series or win the World Series or get past the first round. Because again, in these short series, 5-game series or even a 7-game series, a lot of different quirky things can happen. But regardless, Texas has had another outstanding year.
All the angst back in spring training about replacing Cliff Lee. Boy, they didn't re-sign Cliff Lee. What's going to happen? We might see Cliff Lee again in the World Series. Kelly strikes out Gentry. Rangers 7, Mariners 3. We will play the 8th here on Fox. Hey, comes into the ball game now, top of the 8th here in Arlington. Josh Lewin, Eric Karros with you. The Rangers heading to the postseason. The Mariners looking forward to 2012 already. Seattle had a brief lead 2-1 today, but couldn't hold it. The Rangers scored 6 times in the 4th. Quite a run for Ichiro is going to come to an end this year. Will not get that 200-hit season. Remember when Ichiro broke in, Eric, the Mariners won 116 games that year. And it really all seemed right with Ichiro's world at that point. Down year this year for Ichiro and for the Mariners. He will take outside. It's funny, we're told that Ichiro in Japanese means cheerful. I can't imagine that that's a real accurate portrayal of how Ichiro is feeling about this season. On the ground, can O'Day win a foot race against Ichiro? Whoa, barely, yes.
Well, a nice job by Moreland and by O'Day. What I like that Moreland got the ball to him early, was able to just beat Ichiro to the bag. But see, a lot of first basemen will just throw that ball right to the bag. Well, then the pitcher is trying to catch the ball and find the bag at the same time. Moreland does a nice job, gets the ball to O'Day prior to him getting to the bag. Look at this. I got it. Now I got 1 and another 2 steps before I get to the bag. And
Boy,
he can find it. Don't throw it to the bag. Throw it to the pitcher, men and women that play first.
Kyle Seager takes the strike. Lunging for that one. He's going to punch that into center, and it travels pretty well. But there's Leonis Martin to go get it. Rangers looking for their 92nd win against 66 losses. The win percentage under Ron Washington has gone up just a little bit every year.
Yeah, he really changed the culture of this organization when he came over. And I know that Nolan Ryan gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so, but it really started with this man right here, Ron Washington, the type of baseball that he likes to play, the aggressiveness, and he hasn't wavered from it. Even when things weren't going as well as he would have liked, he stuck to the philosophy of being aggressive, trying to catch the ball, make things happen. Well, his style of baseball, it's relentless.
Your last year playing in the big leagues, he was a coach, right? In Oakland, you were in Oakland. And I know you can speak firsthand of just how sincere he is in all of what you're talking about.
He played the game, and, he had to survive in the big leagues.
Well, and even before that, I'd suggest, TK, I mean, you're talking about a 130-pound quarterback in high school on the football team.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got my favorite saying, and I use it with my kids, and he used it with us one time when I was with the Oakland A's on the bus. He said, fellas, you either do or you don't, you will or you won't. I said, huh? Yeah, what, Wash? You will or you won't, you do or you don't, you will or you won't. And basically what that means is, I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear reasons why something didn't happen or why something did happen. You either do it or you don't do it. And it's very simple.
Did he steal that from Yoda in Star Wars? Do or do not. There is no try. Somehow I think not. But O'Day registers 3 quick outs. Ron Washington's team is looking real good. Is sponsored by DirecTV. Now get DirecTV's best offer of the year. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Josh Lewin, Eric Karros here in Arlington, Texas, where Blanco is going to sail one in the left and get on base for the 4th time today in 4 at-bats. This is his first start in more than 6 weeks. And in for Elvis Andrus today, just keeps getting on. Brings up Esteban Herman. Felix Hernandez started for Seattle. Did not make it out of the 4th inning. A scary moment, hit on the forearm by a Michael Young line drive. A contusion, we're told, not a break. But by that time, Hernandez had allowed 12 hits. And the Rangers had built a 7-2 lead at the end of 4. In for a strike from Kelly. Off the end of the bat, kind of chipped towards right. Ichiro's got it. You can catch all the action of the 2011 Major League Baseball postseason here on Fox and on TBS. It all begins next Friday, September 30th, with the Division Series on TBS. I'm not asking you, Mr. Karros, to write down your picks in pen or anything like that, but I know you're on this Rangers train right about now. Certainly playing better than the Red Sox are, for example. The Red Sox are struggling again today, losing 9-1. Tigers were several shades of hot for about a month. They've cooled off a little bit. And then you've got the Yankees.
You know, I like the Ranger ball club right now just because as balanced as they seem to be, they just seem poised and are playing well at the right time. And that's what October is all about. Who is the hottest team? It doesn't necessarily mean you're the best team over the course of the season. It just means you played the best baseball in October. And, you know, I know there are a lot of people that are saying, oh, well, the Rangers, they got to win so they finish ahead of Detroit. And they don't have to play the Yankees. And the Yankees have beat them a couple times this year. And well, you know, C.J. Wilson has had some real good numbers against a lot of Yankee hitters. You know, I mean, Granderson hits about 200 against him, and Teixeira 0 for 9, doesn't have a hit. Alex Rodriguez 1 for 13. You know, so I like that matchup. Colby Lewis maybe gets the second start if they're playing in New York. I just don't think it's all that important, as Ron Washington had mentioned, that you worry about who you're playing, whether it's New York or the wild card team, if it's Boston or Tampa. It's more important if your team's healthy.
Yeah, it's not who you're playing, it's how you're playing. And he wants his guys to be rested.
And I think Ron Washington, and rightfully so, will take his group of guys against anybody, anywhere. That's how strongly he feels about his ball club. I'll play you anywhere you want, whenever you want. And that's his feeling.
David Murphy had a 2 RBI base hit back in the 4th. That was the swing inning here today. The Mariners had gotten a 2-1 lead by scoring twice in the top of that inning, but the Rangers roared back with a 6th spot. You got Michael Young on deck. Again, Eric Karros' pick for MVP in the American League. Into the crowd of 40,242.
You know, and again, just to reiterate my reasoning for Michael Young to be the MVP. I'm saying Curtis Granderson, you put a Josh Hamilton in New York, he maybe can put up similar type numbers. Put a Clayton Kershaw or somebody in Detroit, he could probably pitch and win 20 some odd games. But there's not a player in the big leagues that can do, I believe, what Michael Young did this year. And that's play 40-odd games at third, 40-odd games at first, 15 at second base, and have 200 hits and over 100 RBIs. I challenge you to find a player that can do that.
Young is left on deck. The Rangers need to collect 3 outs, and they've got another win. 7-3 our score. Chevrolet, Josh Lewin, Eric Karros, glad to be with you. It's a 6-run 4th inning that's carried the Rangers today. They won last night by the final of 5-3. The Angels lost to the Oakland A's. And the Rangers are indeed going to the postseason for a 2nd straight year after they hadn't gone for about 12 years. Michael Kirkman takes over on the mound. And it's lefty to lefty, Mike Karp, the batter. Former Ranger Justin Smoke to follow. Kirkman's got it. 1 up, 1 away, top 9. By the way, the producer of today's game, Larry Lancaster, the director, Jim Lynch. The associate director, the great Eric Billigmeyer, the associate producer, also great Andy Kavanaugh. Our technical producer, I'm running out of adjectives, Craig Marlowe, the technical director, Simon Ben Ezra. The pregame show produced by Don Bowie.
Josh, also great working with you again, 3rd week in a row.
How did you get so lucky?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if I come back to Texas and work with you, because all the pastries and goodies and cookies that your fans have sent up to you today.
Yeah, the fattening
I think I've done most of the eating.
Yeah, we're not just going to fatten up the play-by-play guy. We got to get the color commentator involved too. So good working with you, my man. Looking forward to seeing you on the Fox airwaves for, wow, basically 3 weeks in a row, starting very soon.
Yeah, right around the corner. And I absolutely believe that I will be back here in Texas.
Well, Michael Young, I think in his own way, was happy to hear you tout him for MVP. I'm sure he liked it, but Michael Young doesn't exactly wear his emotions on his sleeve.
No,
you know?
he really doesn't. And you know, I think, though, that's one of the reasons why he's been so successful throughout his career. I mean, it's a very business-like approach. He goes out, he takes this game in a serious manner. You know, and again, I'll be honest with you. A week ago, I wasn't sold on the Michael Young MVP. But the more and more I've thought about it and what MVP means and the things that he's done, Basically doing something that really, I don't know if it's ever been done in the game before. Playing multiple infield positions and having the offensive numbers that he's had. Having the impact on this ball club. He embodies what an MVP is.
Now Miguel Olivo with 2 out here in the 9th inning. I guess if you wanted to, EK, you could put a Captain C on that jersey of Michael Young, but that would kind of just be overstating the obvious. You know, he is definitely the captain of the team.
Well, he's the captain of the team. He's the face of the franchise. He's been, you know, all of those sorts of things. And again, forget what he's done on the field. The way he handled himself in spring training and what went on during the offseason speaks volumes of his character.
1-2. And the Rangers have already cemented away the division, but just to give their fans a little something extra. Trying to beat the Mariners here today. Into right field, and a foul. On the ground, first base. Kirkman is there. Ball game. The playoff-bound Texas Rangers take down Seattle 7-3. They got 12 hits off Felix Hernandez, who only got 11 outs. And the Rangers are Eric Karros rolling.
Yeah, they really are, and it's not just one guy. It's a whole ball club. And you look at the lineup that Ron Washington put out there today. Good ball players, but not the regulars, yet they still come out, knock around Felix Hernandez, put up runs, are aggressive. Like I said, that they're in a stretch right now where they're playing about as well as they could hope to be playing. And this is just the right time to peak, just as you get into October.
Well, as a little something extra, as we say, and Ron Washington's from New Orleans, Lagniappe, I believe it's called down there, that little something extra that you get for dessert. The little something extra would be a batting title for Michael Young, and that's in range right now, within a couple of points.
Well, it really is, and he's showing no signs of slowing down, as you mentioned during the show. Text manager Ron Washington today and said, look, I want to be in the lineup if you need a guy to get out there. And Michael Young having an MVP-type year.
Plenty of guys contributing for the Rangers today. David Murphy high up on that list with a couple of hits, one in the third, one in the fourth. David, congratulations. You guys are rolling right now. It looks like you're having fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. Obviously, after last night, this is exactly what we wanted. And, you know, we punched our ticket last night, so we just we need to tune up here for the next few days and go into the postseason playing good baseball.
David, how is this ball club different, and I'll even say better than last year's ball club?
I think just experience. Experience is a key to a lot of things. Last year in September, there were a lot of guys that had never been to the postseason before, and you could feel a sense of pressing a little bit, even though I feel like most of the month we were up about 7 or 8 games, and this year we've been up, you know, 3 to 4 for most of September, so obviously it's a smaller lead, and you know, we've just been playing better. We haven't been thinking about clinching or doing anything. We've been focusing on each individual day and just taking care of business that day.
How nice was it to celebrate at the end of the day yesterday with those thousands of Ranger fans that hung around to essentially watch TV with you?
That was awesome. Our fans are so great. Obviously, they were with us last year all year long, and you know, it was great. They've been with us all year long this year, so it was great to be able to share that with them. Still
Competing with Detroit for garnering, you know, a possible home series. How important is that for you going into the division series?
I mean, it would be nice. I guess I would say it's a luxury to have home field advantage, but judging by the way we played last year, it's not a necessity to have home field advantage. I feel like once the postseason starts, all bets are off, and, you know, I don't know. It's kind of like just starting over, and everybody's 0-0, and you don't know what to expect. Like I said, last year we didn't play great in September, and it's like we flipped a switch once the playoffs began. So that could happen with a lot of teams this year.
Enjoy the ride, my man. Thanks so much, David. Congrats on the win today.
Thank you guys for having me.
You bet. That's David Murphy. The Rangers win. We'll wrap things up from Arlington after these messages from your local Fox station.